You know, putting out those videos about those Keishas in the 60s, those are my favorite videos to do. Out of all the videos, those are my favorite. You know why? Because it stops all these dudes that were telling us that, hey, no, the modern woman, and this is just the modern one. Women like that in the past weren't like that. There's no such thing as the modern woman when it comes to Keisha. That's Keisha. That's all. That's who she's ever been. The modern Keisha you saw in the 60s, black man. And in time before that too, but I'm talking about the 60s because those videos that I put out came from the 60s. And what did you see? What did you see in those videos, black man? You saw them being disrespectful to black men. You saw them wanting black men to be anything else but men. You saw them putting together unions for welfare. Welfare unions. You saw them fighting for everything except for the family structure. Except for fighting for the family structure. You saw them becoming baby mothers, talking about they're not thinking about marrying a father until the father do this or the father do that. You saw Keisha's, making new deals with Brad. New welfare deals. You saw that. You seen that. You saw that. So hopefully that all that talk about Keishas in the 60s, they was riders. No, they were not. No, they were not. Their motivation was to go against us. And since they didn't have the resources to go against us, they went to Brad. I need y'all to understand that. Their whole motivation was to go against us. They didn't like that we were head of the household. They didn't like that our word was the last word when it come to anything in the house. They didn't like that. Do you know why they didn't like that? Because they wanted to be back on the plantation. They didn't look at you as men. They looked at Brad as men, but didn't look at you as men. They felt some sort of way like, nah, who are you? Brad is in charge, not you. Why are you in charge? This is what happened right after bondage. Right after bondage. Wait a minute, you want to be in charge now? Who are you? No, I'd rather have Brad in charge. This was their whole mind state. Black men were too busy going out there trying to build communities and fight Brad at the same time, but didn't understand that they had another fight inside their house until later. Until later. So here you are. You fighting society. You're fighting at work. You fighting as soon as you go outside. You fighting as soon as you go outside. You fighting on your way to work. You're fighting at work. You're fighting at home. As soon as you get home, now you're fighting at home. You're fighting the world. So when you go home, you think that's a safe space, but it's not a safe space because she don't want you to be the head of household. And since you're the breadwinner, since you're the one inside bringing in the bread, and basically she has to live off of you because you're the one providing housing, food, clothing, and shelter, She said, you know what? In order for her to get from under your leadership, she needs to find resources somewhere else. And she went to Brad. Brad said, sure, leave from those communities that they built for you and come into this rat community that I have for you. Why you think Brad was laughing? You saw Brad laughing at her. Brad was literally laughing in her face. Like, you gotta be kidding me. You left productive black men to be on this? We barely give you enough to sustain yourself, and you chose this over your man? This is what they chose. This is what they wanted. They chose this. They chose to get from under your leadership. They chose to go to work. They chose to go to school, put themselves in debt. They chose all this. The disrespect has always been heavy. You wasn't dealing with no Beckys. You wasn't dealing with no Marias. You wasn't dealing with Becky's, and you was not dealing with Maria's. You know was ill if you saw a black man with a Becky, he would get heavily criticized, and on top of that, he might be in jeopardy. He might be in jeopardy, and his family might be in jeopardy, and that's why he never even risked it. He didn't risk it. He said, "You know what? I'm not dealing with no Becky's. I'm not risking it. I'm not risking it. I'm not risking my family, and I'm not risking myself over no Becky." That's why you didn't see Becky's with brothers. You just didn't see that. Was the same danger there with Keisha and Brad? No, it was not. It was not. Because Brad will look at another Brad that's with a Keisha and understand what's going on. He understands what's going on. As long as you don't bring her around your family, as long as you don't bring her around the community, as long as you stay within the rat community with her, take her to those hole in the walls. Take her to those hole in the wall, one of those hole in the wall spots where you could take her on a tizzy tour. Just don't bring her around here. Keisha would rather get taken to a hole in the wall spot than a black man to take her to an elegant spot in his community. Oh yeah, there was restaurants, nice restaurants in these communities that black men built. She would rather get out of the community that black men built to be in some hole in the wall that Brad takes him so he doesn't get spotted by any of his associates, friends. And then even if they spot him, as long as he wasn't around his community, they understand what it was. Oh, he's just taking a Keisha on a Pound Town tour. What did they call it? Playing in the mud? That's what they called it, right? Never marrying them. That's definitely off the table. He didn't even want to be seen with her. But there was no danger to Keisha's sleeping with Brad. So you saw Keisha's getting rammed out by Brad, right? But you didn't see brothers messing with these Beckys. You didn't see that. So when they talk about, black men in the past and, black men fighting to be with Becky's, you got to ask, where's the evidence of that? Where's the evidence? There's no evidence. Show me the evidence. Show me historically where this happened at. And they can't, because it never happened. It never happened. But there's historical evidence to show that these Brads was taking these Keishas on Tizzy tour like it was going out of style. This what they were doing. Black men, they try to convince black men that that the Keishas were the backbone of the community when they were not. Black men has always been the backbone of the community. Keishas wanted to destroy the family structure at every turn they get. Every time a new political case come up, or any new movement, any new political movements within within Becky. If Becky want to start marching for something, she get her foot soldiers, Keisha. And then she tells her, hey, why don't you go against your man? Go against your husband. Meanwhile, they going home to their husbands. They going home, they listening to their husbands, yet they're telling Keisha, be aggressive, don't comply, don't cooperate, don't do any of these things. Just so they can use Keisha as a foot soldier. They couldn't use Keisha as a foot soldier if she was listening to her husband, because her husband knew what it was. Her husband would tell her in a minute, oh, you better not go out there following after them. They're just using you. But they didn't care about that. They didn't listen to us. You know what they did? They put the stake in our back and told us that in order for us to be back aligned with them, we basically have to let them do whatever they want to do. Do whatever you want to do. They didn't want to be under us. They wanted to be over us. And then what happened? What happened? They left. They left and started the rat community. This is history. That's the reason why those videos are important. I know they're not the most watched videos like my other videos, and I get it. But I still do the videos anyway. And the thing is, brothers who miss out on those videos, they miss something very important. They miss something very, very important. They miss the treason. That's why, when I look at those videos and I'm like, to the brothers who are watching this, they're seeing the treason, and I'm watching it. I'm reading the comments, and the brothers are in there saying, wow, this really happened? Yes. This is why it's important. That's why it's very important. I do these videos knowing that a lot of traction ain't going to come to these videos, but I still spend a lot of time on them because they're very important. See, if the brothers that saw it are watching it, they'll spread it. They'll spread that information to their friends and family. And they can even show them the videos. As long as the brothers that watch it catch it and understand what they're watching and seeing, that's all that matters to me. That's all that matters. But anyway, I just wanted to say that. Salute the black men. Stay Keisha free. And stay in the shadows, black men. Peace. Oh, by the way, I just thought about this. I saw the comments in the video about Brandon Jamal, and a lot of brothers is like, good for him, or he shouldn't have got harmed, but I really don't care for Duke. He went against this. He went against Passport Bros. He went against the Manosphere. This stuff like that. Listen, I don't know much about him. I don't know much about him. I just know that he did that song, and that's it. That's it. I don't know his views. I said it in the video. I don't know much about him. I don't watch him. The drawback when I do these videos, sometimes when I do these videos, right, on situations that happen to these dudes, right, I don't be knowing their history like that. Like, y'all be knowing their history, and y'all be knowing, like, y'all be in the loop. I don't be in the loop with these dudes. I do a video on some dude and something that just happened to him, and y'all have the receipts for all. I don't be knowing who these people are, and truthfully, I really don't need to research him. As far as his stance on certain things. I'm just talking about, this is more of a message to young black men and brothers that don't understand the concept of staying Keisha free. This is more for the brothers. You get what I'm saying? Not really for him, more for the brothers. I'm making a point through him. That's why his past, or what he was doing, it doesn't really concern me. I don't care. Even if I disagree with what he had said in the past, if he said any of these things, my focus is him being assaulted by his cousin, because I talked about this a lot, and I was just basically making a point through him. His past, I don't know much. Like I said, I don't watch him, but I get what y'all saying. I get what you're saying, but I'm not really, I don't know much about him. I was just talking about the video. I mean, the incident that happened to him. I'm not a supporter of his. I don't watch his videos. I don't know much about Duke, but I do know that he was assaulted by his cousin over a political view, and that's trash. You get what I'm saying? So that's all I want to say about that. Anyway, again, stay in the shadows, black men.